It was a day like any other. People woke up to their regular routines, some rushing to work, others heading to school. The skies were clear, and everything seemed normal. But that would soon change. It started with a strange flicker in the sky. At first, no one paid much attention. Everyone thought it was just a trick of the light, maybe a weather phenomenon. But soon, the lights became brighter, more intense, and began to take strange shapes. People stopped in their tracks, looking up at the sky. What they saw was like nothing they had ever seen before. Massive ships, unlike anything humanity had ever imagined, appeared. They weren't like the simple flying machines from movies or sci-fi books. These ships were enormous, their sleek, dark shapes blocking out the sun as they hovered above the world's major cities. Some of the ships were so big they covered entire sections of the sky. People watched in awe, fear, and confusion. The world was in chaos. News stations broadcasted live coverage, but no one knew what to make of it. The ships descended slowly, their movements graceful and calculated, unlike anything humans had ever experienced. They landed on Earth's major capitals, New York, London, Beijing, and more. There was no crash, no loud noise, just a soft landing, like the ships were carefully placed. The world's military forces were on high alert, ready to act if necessary, but no one moved. The aliens were tall, their bodies covered in dark, metallic armor. They had features that seemed familiar, but their eyes, glowing with an eerie light, were completely different. Their faces were cold, unreadable, and their presence seemed to suck the air out of the surroundings. Humans, who were used to dominating their world, suddenly felt small. The aliens' presence was overpowering, yet they showed no immediate sign of aggression. They stepped out of their ships and spoke in a language no one understood. It was a series of clicks and hums, almost musical in tone, but filled with an alien coldness. The people of Earth waited anxiously, some expecting war, others hoping for peace, but nothing happened immediately. The aliens didn't attack, nor did they speak in words. Instead, they raised their hands in a sign of peace, but the message was unclear. What did they want? Why had they come? The world's leaders were thrown into action. Emergency meetings were held, communication lines were open, and military forces positioned themselves. For hours, no one knew what to do. The aliens had not said a word in the human tongue, and their gestures were confusing. The tension in the air was thick. Everyone on Earth waited for something to happen. Then the first message came, not through words, but through technology. The aliens activated their ships, which emitted a strange light. A powerful beam shot down into the Earth's atmosphere, spreading across the planet. The beam did not harm anything. It didn't even appear to affect the environment. But the message it carried was clear. A holographic figure appeared above the ships, taller than the buildings below. It was an alien, but unlike the beings who stood in front of the humans. This figure was humanoid, with an elongated head and glowing eyes, exuding a sense of calm, power, and otherworldly wisdom. "I am Zavorn, a representative of the HFY Collective." The voice boomed across the world, even though it didn't come from speakers. The voice itself seemed to resonate in the minds of everyone listening. It was not a language, but a direct communication that bypassed any barrier between species. "We offer protection. The galaxy is a dangerous place, and Earth is unprepared for what is coming. We have come to help, to defend." Humanity stood frozen. Protection. What did the aliens mean? Protection from what? Why would these aliens offer such a thing to Earth, a planet they had never interacted with before? The questions flooded everyone's minds. Zavorn's voice continued, "We know of the coming dangers, and we know you will need our help to face them. The galaxy is full of enemies, forces that destroy civilizations without mercy. Earth is at risk, but you do not need to fear. We are here." The message didn't explain much, yet the tone was clear. The HFY Collective, as they called themselves, had come to protect Earth from something greater, something humans could not possibly comprehend. But what were these threats? And how did they know about Earth's existence? More questions piled up, but the biggest one remained. Why Earth? The aliens' offer of protection raised more suspicion than it answered. People had heard of alien invasions in movies, of hostile forces coming to conquer or destroy. But this was different. These visitors were not hostile. They didn't seem interested in taking over Earth or enslaving its people. But what were their true intentions? As the HFY ships hovered, their presence weighed heavily on the world. The people of Earth were faced with an unimaginable reality. Alien visitors with advanced technology and an offer of protection. What did they know? What dangers did they face that were so serious? Earth needed help from beings so far beyond human understanding. And most of all, could humans trust them? The world held its breath. The aliens had made their offer, but humans weren't ready to accept it. Who were these visitors, and why did they think Earth needed saving? As more questions filled the air, the tension rose. The fate of the planet rested on answers that no one yet had. For days, the world waited. The alien ships continued to hover above the cities, their towering metallic forms casting shadows over every corner of Earth. People watched in disbelief as the HFY collective maintained their perfect silence. They hadn't said another word since their initial broadcast. They made no move to leave. Yet they didn't show any sign of aggression either. It was as if the world was in a limbo, caught between peace and something far worse. Humanity was uncertain, torn between fear and curiosity. Some believed the aliens were truly here to help, offering protection from an unknown threat. Others saw their silence as a sign of something darker, that these visitors had their own hidden agenda. Could they be trying to manipulate humanity? Or worse, were they testing Earth's readiness for something more sinister? Leaders around the world were still in a frenzy. Secret meetings took place behind closed doors. The UN convened emergency summits, and military forces were put on high alert. Everyone had one question. What did the aliens know that humans didn't? Every passing hour brought more tension as the Earth's governments debated whether to engage with the HFY or push them away. But the aliens didn't seem to be making a move, leaving humanity to wonder. What was their next move? The HFY ships were not just hovering in plain sight. They were scanning. Throughout the world, sensors detected strange energy pulses radiating from the ships, pulses that seemed to be studying the planet in ways that no human technology could replicate. They weren't simply waiting to be asked for help. They were studying Earth's defenses, analyzing the state of the planet's military, its vulnerabilities. Then, without warning, a different kind of signal was sent. It wasn't a message in the usual sense. It was a shift in the energy surrounding Earth, something that felt like a deep, unspoken threat. It wasn't the alien speaking. It was the very fabric of space around them that spoke, sending ripples through the atmosphere. The ship's shields, which had been calm and passive, now began to hum with a low, eerie frequency. The world's most advanced military satellites began to pick up strange readings, an energy unlike anything humans had ever encountered. It wasn't like any weapon humanity had in its arsenal. It wasn't even a known form of technology. It felt wrong. Like a warning, yet it didn't come with the destruction people feared. It was a quiet force, something that whispered of dangers beyond human understanding. Then, as the world watched in horror, the HFY collective released another message. This time, it wasn't a grand hologram like before. Instead, the voice came through every form of communication at once: television, radio, internet, and even private communications. It filled the minds of every person, everywhere, leaving no room to escape. "We have seen the future," the voice said, the alien tone sharp and clear. It didn't sound like a voice at all. It was a direct transmission to the mind. Earth's time of peace is over. The galaxy is filled with darkness, and it is coming. The words sent shivers down the spines of every human who heard them. The HFY Collective was not asking for Earth's trust. They were warning humanity. The alien visitors weren't just here to protect. They were here because they knew something was coming, something that would shake the very foundations of the planet. "Prepare yourselves," Zevorn's voice continued, its tone chilling and solemn. "You must be ready, for the darkness does not wait. The galaxy moves, and soon Earth will be a battleground." The message ended abruptly, leaving nothing but silence in its wake. People around the world were left in stunned silence. What did it mean? What was the darkness that was coming? And why did the HFY Collective feel the need to warn humanity in this way? The tension that had been building for days now erupted. Governments scrambled to understand the nature of this darkness. Military leaders began to plan contingencies. Earth's top scientists were called into action to analyze the strange energy readings from the alien ships. But no one had answers. The HFY were here, and their warnings were serious. But what were they truly up against? Back in the streets, civilians were filled with fear and confusion. Some believed the aliens were telling the truth, that the galaxy was indeed filled with threats far beyond Earth's capacity. Others were skeptical. Why should they trust beings who appeared out of nowhere and claimed to have all the answers? What if they were manipulating the world into accepting their help when there was no need? Rumors spread fast. Some said the HFY had seen the future and knew something was coming that would destroy Earth. Others claimed the aliens were using their advanced technology to take control of Earth's resources. In the midst of all the speculation, one thing became clear. No one knew what was really happening. The Earth was on the edge. The HFY Collective had warned humanity, but no one had yet understood the full meaning of their words. The darkness was out there, and it was coming. The aliens had told humanity to prepare, but how could Earth possibly prepare for an enemy they couldn't even comprehend? And so, the world waited. The HFY Collective remained silent, watching, observing, waiting for humanity to make its move. The clock was ticking, and the true test of Earth's strength was yet to come. But no one knew just how terrifying the enemies waiting in the dark truly were. Would Earth accept the HFY Collective's help in time, or would it be too late? The answers were hidden in the unknown, and soon, humanity would find out just how fragile their world truly was. The silence was deafening. For weeks, Earth's governments and civilians alike sat in limbo, unable to act decisively. The HFY Collective's warnings echoed in their minds, but the absence of a clear threat left humanity confused. How could they prepare for something they couldn't see? What was this dark force that was coming for them? Despite the mounting tension, most people went about their daily lives, trying to ignore the alien ships hovering ominously above the cities. Some hoped that HFY would leave, that the threat they spoke of was a misunderstanding. But deep down, many feared that the warning was not just a message, it was a harbinger of something much worse. The unknown hung heavy in the air, casting a shadow over every decision. In the world's military hubs, the fear was palpable. Scientists and strategists had been working day and night to analyze the alien technology and decipher the true meaning behind their words. But the HFY ships remained silent, their ominous hum still resonating in the atmosphere. The energy readings had only increased, but there was no tangible threat. Nothing to fight, nothing to strike back at. It was maddening. Then, one day, everything changed. It started with the signals. Earth's most advanced satellites, positioned high above the planet, suddenly began to pick up strange, erratic signals from deep space. At first, they were faint, barely noticeable. But as hours passed, the signals grew stronger and more defined. They were coming from every corner of the galaxy. The signals were unlike anything human technology had ever encountered. They weren't coded transmissions. They were pulses of energy, raw and primal, sent through the fabric of space. These pulses were not random. They were directed, aimed at something specific. And as the scientists dug deeper into the data, they began to realize the terrifying truth. The signals were not just a call. They were a warning. a warning to the HFY, to Earth, to every sentient species in the galaxy. Something was coming. Something terrible. The HFY ships reacted immediately. The low hum that had once filled the atmosphere now intensified. Their shields shimmered, glowing with an eerie, pulsating light. The energy emanating from the alien vessels was unlike anything Earth had ever seen. For the first time, humanity understood what the HFY had been warning them about. The first of the dark forces arrived in the form of massive, looming objects. These were no ships, no beings like the HFY. They were something else entirely. The objects were huge, many times the size of Earth's largest cities. They appeared from the depths of space like silent, unstoppable predators. No one knew their origin, and no one had seen anything like them before. The moment the objects entered Earth's atmosphere, chaos erupted. The skies darkened as the alien ships prepared for combat. The HFY had always been formidable, but they were not the only ones who knew how to fight. These new enemies were different. Their weapons were beyond human comprehension. Their ships were sleek and fast, with technology that could disrupt entire cities with a single shot. As the first of these ominous objects landed on Earth's surface, the world held its breath. The alien ships that had been watching for weeks suddenly sprang into action, their energy shields flaring as they engaged in a battle that none of Earth's leaders had anticipated. The HFY had warned them, but humanity hadn't been prepared for the arrival of such overwhelming power. The skies lit up with the flash of energy blasts. Explosions rocked the cities. Military forces scrambled to respond, but their weapons were useless against the alien attackers. The sheer scale of the assault was too much to handle. The HFY ships fought valiantly, but they were outmatched. The attackers were relentless, and their weapons were devastating. It was clear now that the darkness the HFY had warned about wasn't just a metaphor. It was a real, tangible force. The aliens had come to Earth not just to protect, but to prepare for a battle that humanity was ill-equipped to fight. As the world watched in horror, the real nature of the threat began to unfold. The objects that had landed on Earth were not just ships. They were harbingers of something much greater. And with them, the galaxy's deadliest forces had arrived, forces that Earth could not begin to comprehend. For the first time, humanity felt the weight of the HFY's words. The darkness does not wait. The battle for Earth had begun, and it was clear that no one was ready for what was coming next. But in the midst of the chaos, one thing remained true. The HFY had kept their word. They hadn't just warned humanity. They had come to fight beside them. Now, it was up to Earth's defenders to stand their ground. The future of humanity, and the fate of the entire galaxy, was uncertain. The only thing that was clear was this: Earth's fight for survival was just beginning, and it would require every ounce of strength, intelligence, and courage humanity could muster. The first few hours of the invasion had been chaos, but humanity was not without hope. In every city, in every military compound, people scrambled to understand what was happening and what their next move should be. Despite their initial panic, the truth started to sink in. Earth was under siege, and they were not the only ones who could fight back. The HFY Collective, despite their initial reluctance to reveal everything, had proven to be more than just allies. They were partners. Their fleets, though powerful and technologically advanced, were not enough to hold off the overwhelming might of the invaders. Earth needed more. And in that moment of desperation, humanity's greatest weapon revealed itself: the will to survive. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, in hidden research facilities and secret bunkers, humanity's finest minds were at work. For years, they had been studying alien technology, reverse engineering HFY equipment, and adapting it to their own needs. It was a dangerous game, one that could have easily led to disaster if the wrong pieces fell into place. But now, with the fate of the planet at stake, the scientists, engineers, and military leaders saw only one path forward: to unleash every ounce of human ingenuity and innovation. In the underground labs, Workers activated machines they had spent years building. They called them the Earth Defenders. These were weapons unlike anything the world had seen before. They combined human creativity with alien technology, melding the best of both to create advanced weaponry, energy shields, and machines capable of standing toe-to-toe with the invaders. But it wasn't just weapons. Humanity was beginning to mobilize its entire population, giving every willing citizen a role in the fight. The first Earth Defenders were tested under the light of burning skies. Soldiers, outfitted with the new technology, rushed into the fray. They were armed with plasma rifles, shields that could deflect even the most powerful energy blasts, and armor that was capable of withstanding direct hits from alien artillery. They were the first wave, the brave soldiers who would form the backbone of Earth's defense. The battle raged on across the globe, with every continent becoming a war zone. Cities burned, and the sky was filled with the screams of battle and the deafening noise of weapons far beyond human comprehension. But there was one thing the invaders hadn't anticipated. Earth's defenders were not just a military. They were a people united by a single cause, willing to sacrifice everything to protect their home. As the battle spread, Earth's tactics evolved. The X-Ire ships, having fought in countless galactic wars, shared their knowledge, teaching humanity how to organize themselves into effective resistance cells. The alien fleets provided intelligence and gave Earth's generals insight into the invaders' weaknesses. Together, the X-Ire and humans devised a strategy to strike at the invaders' weak points, to break their will. The invaders had underestimated the human spirit. They believed that they could overwhelm Earth with sheer force. But they didn't know that humanity had something far more dangerous than advanced weaponry. Humanity had ingenuity. In every corner of the world, people took up arms. Whether they were civilians in the streets or scientists in laboratories, everyone played a part. There was a collective understanding. Earth was not just a planet. It was a symbol of resilience, and no one would take that from them. The invaders began to falter, the first signs of weakness appearing in their lines. The Earth Defenders were relentless, using guerrilla tactics, hitting where the enemy least expected it. They attacked alien supply lines, crippled communications, and ambushed the invaders' soldiers. The invaders' advanced weaponry was no match for human creativity. But the real turning point came when the first human-designed weapons were deployed. The Earth's new weapons systems, designed using X-Ire technology, were unleashed on the invaders. They were nothing like the crude weapons of Earth's past. These new weapons were powerful, precise, and devastating. Alien energy shields were no match for them. The first waves of invaders began to retreat, surprised by the power humanity was wielding. With each victory, Earth's confidence grew. Humanity wasn't just fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting to protect everything they had ever known. The invaders, once sure of their victory, were beginning to question their own power. They had never faced an enemy like this before, a species that, even when outmatched in technology, could turn the tide with their unwavering determination. The Earth Defenders' success was not just due to their advanced weapons. It was a testament to their unity. Despite the destruction around them, humanity had banded together in ways the invaders could never have imagined. It was this unity that became Earth's true weapon. The first victory for Earth was small, but it was symbolic. It was the first time in centuries that a human civilization had fought back an invasion on this scale. It was a victory that spoke to humanity's resilience, their ability to adapt and overcome. And the invaders realized too late that Earth would not be easily defeated. As the Earth Defenders gathered for their next move, the world knew that the war was far from over. But they also knew this: humanity had found its strength, and the invaders' time on Earth was numbered. The invaders, once confident in their superiority, began to feel the sting of defeat. As the Earth Defenders continued to adapt and surprise them, the aliens' morale faltered. The invaders had assumed that Earth would fall quickly, an easy conquest like so many other worlds they had taken. But what they hadn't accounted for was the sheer unpredictability of human ingenuity and spirit. It wasn't just the advanced weapons or the alien technology that Earth had turned to its advantage. It was the people themselves. Every corner of Earth had become a battlefield, with citizens, soldiers, and even scientists working together to undermine the alien invaders at every turn. As more and more alien forces were driven back, Earth's tactical brilliance began to shine through. The invaders had underestimated the vast scale of Earth's potential. In every city, resistance cells formed. From underground bunkers to the tallest skyscrapers, every human was a part of the growing rebellion. In the dense jungles of South America, a group of survivalists managed to sabotage alien supply lines, cutting off vital resources for the invaders. In the freezing tundra of Siberia, local militias worked with XOR engineers to develop new defenses, creating energy barriers that repelled alien aircraft. The human strategy was simple but effective. Constant pressure. They didn't need to outgun the invaders. They only needed to slow them down, to keep them distracted and uncertain. Every time an alien force thought they had found an advantage, humanity would turn the tables, using the terrain to their benefit, outsmarting the invaders at their own game. But the real breakthrough came when Earth's scientists developed a new weapon, a disruptor beam. It was a weapon that targeted the invaders' energy shields, interfering with their delicate power systems. It rendered the alien shields useless, leaving them vulnerable to attacks from Earth's soldiers. The disruptor was deployed in large quantities, and the tide of the battle began to shift in humanity's favor. Earth's armies began to press the invaders on all fronts. Alien soldiers, once feared for their brutal strength and advanced tactics, found themselves overwhelmed by Earth's resilience. The invaders had never encountered an enemy that fought back with such ferocity, such unity. Every human, from child to elder, knew what was at stake. This was no longer just a war. It was a battle for the very soul of their world. As the invaders' forces dwindled, their leaders began to realize that Earth was not a planet to be conquered. It was a force to be reckoned with. They were facing something far more dangerous than they had anticipated. They were facing a species that would not bend or break under pressure. They were facing a species that fought not for victory, but for survival. Yet the invaders did not retreat immediately. They dug in their heels, refusing to admit defeat. They were proud, ruthless, and powerful, but they were not invincible. As their fleet began to retreat, Earth's forces pressed them from every direction, pushing them toward the borders of space. The battle for Earth had been brutal, but humanity had emerged stronger, more unified, and more determined than ever before. As the invaders' ships retreated into the vast reaches of space, Earth's defenders stood tall, knowing that their world was safe. For now. But even as victory seemed within their grasp, the invaders left one final warning. Their leaders had promised to return, to finish what they had started. But humanity wasn't afraid. They had proven to the galaxy that they could defend their home, and they would continue to do so for as long as it took. And so, with the invaders vanquished for the time being, Earth entered an age of peace and rebuilding. Humanity, having fought off an enemy once thought unbeatable, began to prepare for whatever the universe might throw at them next. Because now, the invaders knew, Earth was no longer a target. It was a force that could not be ignored. The battle for Earth was not over, though the immediate threat had been pushed back. As the alien invaders retreated into the depths of space, the world held its breath. People across the globe celebrated their hard-fought victory, but a sense of unease lingered. The invaders had come close to conquering their world, and there were whispers in the dark corners of space that they would return. Earth's leaders met urgently. The war had left the planet scared, but it also revealed just how much potential humanity possessed. The alien threat had been repelled, but no one could ignore the fact that Earth was now on the radar of far more dangerous enemies. The question on everyone's mind was not just how to rebuild, but how to prepare for the inevitable return of the invaders or worse, other forces that might seek to conquer them. The first priority was to rebuild. Cities had been leveled, entire regions left in ruin, and much of the world's infrastructure had been shattered. However, what was left behind was a planet full of survivors, each one motivated to restore their world. Communities that had once been divided now worked together, and the world's resources were channeled into the most critical areas. As the months passed, humanity came together in ways never seen before. The military, scientists, engineers, and civilians collaborated to develop new defense systems. The technology that had been gained from the invaders was carefully studied, and the knowledge was shared freely across nations. No longer was Earth divided by borders. Humanity was united by the common cause of survival and readiness. In this rebuilding effort, the Earth's defense systems were enhanced exponentially. The global space fleets that had been formed to defend against the invaders were now strengthened, equipped with alien technology that would allow humanity to fight in space if necessary. And at the forefront of this transformation were the very children who had witnessed the destruction firsthand, their minds now full of ideas and innovations far beyond what was once considered possible. The defense strategies evolved rapidly. The new space stations created around Earth's orbit acted as forward sentinels, constantly monitoring the vast reaches of space for any signs of alien activity. Meanwhile, Earth's ground forces were bolstered by the best and brightest military minds from every corner of the globe. Even civilians were trained in survival tactics, with entire nations preparing for the worst. But it wasn't just the defense that had advanced. Humanity itself had changed. The invasion had forced people to look at each other differently. There were no longer any divisions based on race, religion, or nationality. The enemy they had fought was too big to be defeated by division. Humanity had learned to work as one, with a shared vision of not just survival, but thriving in a galaxy full of dangers. Despite all the progress, the reality of Earth's new place in the universe remained clear. They were no longer a planet in isolation. They were on the radar of far more advanced and dangerous forces. It wasn't just the invaders who might return. They were now aware that their world had been watched by far more powerful civilizations, some of which were not as forgiving. In one of the most critical moments of Earth's recovery, an unexpected message came through the newly built defense systems. A signal from deep space, a message from another alien species, one that had been monitoring the battle with the invaders. The message was simple, but its meaning was clear. We have been watching you. You are not alone in the universe. This message from the unknown sent ripples of concern and excitement across the globe. Earth had just survived a war with an alien species that underestimated them. But now, another powerful species was reaching out, recognizing Earth's resilience. Was this a new threat, or was it a sign of an alliance to come? In the weeks following the message, the world remained on edge. Earth's leaders debated whether they should respond to the mysterious species. Should they show strength and refuse contact, or should they take the opportunity to learn more about who might be watching them? Amidst all this, a new generation began to rise. The children who had witnessed the invasion firsthand grew into young adults, and many had developed extraordinary minds. The war had been their formative experience, and they had learned more about warfare, strategy, and survival than any generation before them. Now, they were leading the charge for the future. While Earth's military leaders prepared for any potential danger, the young minds of Earth were pushing the boundaries of what was possible. They started work on new technologies, taking the alien technology they had reverse-engineered and improving upon it. Some began studying the strange signal they had received, analyzing the message to uncover any hints about the species that had sent it. Time was of the essence. Earth had proven that it could defend itself, but they now faced a future filled with uncertainty. The galaxy had become a much smaller place, and the Earth was no longer hidden from view. While some feared the coming of new enemies, others saw this as an opportunity for humanity to make its mark among the stars. One thing was certain: Earth had made an impression. They had survived the unthinkable, and their victory had not gone unnoticed. The next steps would determine whether humanity would continue as the underdog in the universe, or whether they would rise to become one of the dominant forces. The tides of war may have turned, but the future of Earth was just beginning. The galaxy had learned not to underestimate humanity, and no matter what challenges lay ahead, Earth's defenders stood ready, prepared for whatever the universe had in store. As Earth continued its recovery and strengthening, the looming question remained: what awaited them in the vast, uncharted reaches of space? The mysterious alien signal had sparked a new wave of urgency across the globe. Humanity had proven that they could fight back against a powerful invader, but this new unknown threat, was it a sign of greater challenges to come, or was it an opportunity to forge new alliances? The new generation, who had been shaped by the invasion, was taking charge. They weren't just soldiers and leaders. They were innovators, creators, and visionaries. As soon as they received the strange message from deep space, a collective effort began to decipher it. In laboratories and high-tech research centers across the world, humanity's brightest minds worked day and night to understand the signal and uncover who might be behind it. The scientists discovered that the signal wasn't just a random transmission. It was directed specifically at Earth, which meant someone, or something, had been observing the planet for some time. However, the message provided no answers, only cryptic clues that sent shockwaves through the scientific community. What kind of civilization would send such a message? And why now? Amid all this, the military leaders weren't sitting idly by. They knew that any interaction with an advanced alien race could turn hostile if handled poorly. Earth's defense systems were prepared for any kind of conflict, but they were also fortified with an important new tool: the knowledge they had gained from their previous alien invaders. This technology allowed Earth to strengthen its space fleets, creating defensive mechanisms that were far more advanced than anything seen before. Humanity's role in the galaxy had been dramatically altered. They were no longer a planet to be overlooked. As the days passed, Earth's global leaders debated what their response should be. Should they reach out to the unknown species and attempt to open negotiations? Or should they prepare for the possibility that they were being tested by yet another invader? Earth had narrowly survived the first encounter with one alien species, but if the galaxy's other civilizations were anything like the invaders they had already fought, the challenges ahead would be far greater. The pressure was mounting, and the world was looking to its next generation for guidance. The young minds of Earth had developed an unexpected sense of unity, forged in the fires of war. They were no longer divided by the old ideologies of borders or nations. They were one people, and they understood better than anyone that survival would depend on their ability to work together. The days of isolation were over. Meanwhile, Earth's space stations had become hubs of activity, with teams of scientists and engineers constantly monitoring the skies. The military continued to patrol Earth's orbit and beyond, keeping an eye out for any unusual movements. The alien invaders may have retreated for now, but no one believed they had been completely defeated. They would return. Of that, everyone was certain. But the question was when, and from what direction. Earth was no longer the passive, weak planet it had once been. The human race had evolved, and it was now a force to be reckoned with. The young generation that had fought alongside their elders had grown smarter, faster, and more skilled. They were determined to make sure that humanity was ready for whatever might come next. As Earth's global defense network expanded and evolved, humanity had begun to make great strides in space exploration. They had learned how to navigate the stars with newfound confidence. Research teams were working on new propulsion systems, while others focused on studying the vast alien technology left behind by the invaders. Every scrap of information was now invaluable. Earth had learned that in the galaxy, knowledge was power. Then, one fateful day, an answer finally came. The message that had puzzled Earth's scientists for so long began to take shape. As the last pieces of the puzzle fell into place, a startling revelation emerged. The species that had sent the message wasn't hostile. Instead, they were ancient allies, long fought lost to the galaxy's wars. They were beings of immense power and wisdom, and their message wasn't a warning. It was an invitation to join them. to unite with other powerful species in the galaxy, to share knowledge, culture, and technology with those who had fought for survival as Earth had. The realization hit Earth like a shockwave. After everything they had been through, the wars, the invasions, the battles for survival, they were not alone. The galaxy was filled with beings who had been watching them, testing them, and now they were offering the ultimate opportunity, a chance to join forces and become part of something larger than humanity had ever imagined. But with this revelation came a new question. What would humanity do next? The future was no longer just about defending Earth from invaders. It was about how they would play a role in the larger galactic community. Earth had survived against impossible odds, but it was now faced with a decision that would shape its future for centuries to come. Would they accept the invitation? Would they rise to become a central power in the galaxy? Or would they refuse, preferring to remain an isolated world, fighting for its survival alone? No one knew what the future held, but one thing was clear. Earth's role in the galaxy had changed forever. The next chapter of humanity's journey had just begun.